What's going on, everybody? Mark Fleetwood here. Welcome back to the Daily Grind Trader. Today's video is going to be a Ravencoin price analysis, but before we get into Ravencoin, there's a lot to go over with the Bitcoin price action today and some other coin price actions. Plus, I want to go over trend lines and how we create them, how we use them, and how we make sure that we edit them and we keep them up to date. So with all that being said, please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I simply share my technical analysis in hopes that you can use it as you see fit. But remember, you manage your own money and you manage your own trades and your risk. All that out of the way, we're going to hop straight to the charts. We'll take a look at Bitcoin first because Bitcoin had a rough day. I'm going to give you that just as it is. It was a rough day for Bitcoin. But I made a play, and I kind of knew it was coming. Like this area here, this 45.7 had been a support line for Bitcoin. It's hit multiple times, right? It's been legitimately the bottom other than the single wick down to like 42K. It's the only thing that was below that. So as it started to run down, and I was talking with some of the guys in the trading group, Duckbutt, Crypto, Brando, Patrick, and we were all looking at this. We're watching like, the dumping has commenced. And we're watching this come down. So I put a buy order in at 45,700. And it picked up and it wicked back up immediately. I was immediately in profit. But I'm hoping to get back to the support resistance line at 47.3. That's all I want. I don't need to hold this long term. I don't need to wait for the breakout. Don't need anything else. If it breaks out here before it gets to the support resistance line, cool. But I just need this. It's a 3.5% move. So 35% on leverage. But it's also a 7.2 to 1 reward to risk ratio. I'm rewarding 7 to 1 because my stop loss is so tight. Because if the price action goes below the stop loss, I think I bought it at 45.7 and I got my stop loss at 45.5. If it goes below 45.5, it's dumping down to this level and I'm going to immediately flip this for a short position. So that was my play there. That's why this play was so easy for me to make. It didn't feel like much of a gamble. It was a 7 to 1 win ratio. It was also the opportunity to only lose 4% and then get in on a short to potentially gain, 40 or 50% on a short position. Right now, this next flare candle hasn't been looking too good. We got 38 minutes left on this candle, so hopefully it picks back up. But there is always risk in any trade. But I thought I got the bottom, and I did for now. But you beat on the glass floor too often and it's going to break. So I was worried of a potential breakdown to 42, and I still am. If we dry up all the liquidity in this area, because every time it has gotten to this point, it's bought back up almost immediately, very quickly, and very strong. So that shows me that there's a lot of buying pressure in that area. There's a lot of liquidity there. If we dry that all up, touching it too many times and just constantly testing and eventually there's not going to be enough buys there to hold it and it will go down further. And that's always a worry whenever you're buying a support line like this. But so far, it's paid off for me. I'm in solid profit so far. There is one more move I made today that I want to take a look at before I get into the charts. And right now, this is another one that's looking kind of iffy. But Chromia, CHR, I've been tracking with just a bunch of other coins. And, we had a downtrend and this uptrend now because we broke the downtrend. We retested here. And then this test here, I bought the bounce off of the trend line support. So we came down, we touched this, we touched the 21 SMMA, touched the trend line, and we got that hammer off of it. So I bought the next candle. So I'm in at 83.4 cents. And up to like just before making this video, it bought up really quickly off of it. But again, I'm not too worried because I believe this support line, this trend line will hold. And my stop loss is just a little bit below it. So I think that, the best case or the worst case scenario is that I sit in this longer than I want to. And we kind of bounce off the support line and then just slowly move our way up. Worst case scenario is I get stopped out with a very small stop margin. Again, it's almost a 4 to 1 reward to risk ratio, and it's 11% to get to this support resistance line here. That'd be over 110% profit margin for me. So another high profit trade with a very low risk ratio. It's the importance of making these trend lines, and you can adjust them. You can modify them as you need to, because You need to have multiple points of contact before you know where this trend line is going to be. I could have very easily drawn one here, 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 and had it break down. That wouldn't be valid anymore because it did stop. This breakdown would have literally just been the break in the retest of the downtrend. So you've got to wait. You got to see a solid pullback. You have to see a substantial pullback to know your trend line support. And that's where we're at with Raven, because we're going to hop into Raven now. And Raven is trending actually stronger than most any other coin that I'm seeing right now, other than maybe FTM. So we knew when we broke this downtrend that we were going to have a retest. Now, I didn't know that it was going to go this high before coming all the way back down to retest. And it wicked all the way down to this downtrend line. And it wicked all the way down to get that retest. But it also held this support line, this trend line support, which the very bottom before starting to move up. Here it wicked below it just to get this trend line support, or to get this retest of the downtrend, but it bought back above it and it stayed above it. It fought above this line, wicked it again, bought above, and now it's just constantly moving back and forth off of this trend line. So at any point in time, if there's a pullback, now you can have an idea of how far this pullback will go. If you come back and you get hit here and you get a hammer or a wick off, you can feel pretty confident buying at 10.5 here and knowing it's going to come up and test and come up and test. Now you have to make sure that you get a confirmation up off. But this were to stop right here, dead in its tracks, the next hour, you would want to make sure that this next candle is going bullish before buying, or you have a nice kind of a deep wick that buys back up within that candle. So Ravencoin right now, I think, will have a resistance here at 1172 because it already has once. If it breaks this resistance, the next one won't be until 1245, and you'll see 1245 for the longer term was a resistance coming down, a resistance coming up, resistance here, and prior to that was a support a couple of times after when there was the big run up and the big dumps down. That was I think that was like our 618 line, honestly. If we were to fib this, I'm pretty sure that this 1250, 1248 was the 618 fib line for the initial run up. So I think that will be a substantial support resistance line to break through. Looking at it now, I think we've got a good baseline for our trend line support, and we're definitely trending in the right direction. We have resistance here at 1172, and then another resistance at roughly 12.5 cents. So we break one, prepare for the next, and then kind of prepare for a drawback, prepare for a retrace back to this trend line support. So that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, that's the whole video for today. There's not a whole lot of fluff. I'm trying to keep these things short, sweet, concise. So if you like this style of video, please comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, until next time, peace.